Hey folks, my name is Cooper, and I am a solo game developer, amateur developer working on my first game I'm calling Discovery Corporate Explorer. It's been a few months since I've done a developer log. I have not made as much progress the last few months as I did the few months before this. In August and September, I did a couple of game jams on my own, and then I've just also had less time put into it. But I've still got some progress that I want to share, and I think that doing these developer logs is a good way for me to get back into a routine. I'll be starting a new full-time job next week, so I definitely want to have more of a weekly, bi-weekly routine going. And the next goal I actually have set for myself, so I've finished the first two acts in full of the game. I've started scripting into the third act and building out the third biome. I'd say I'm somewhere between 30 to 40% through with the third act, which is the forest biome. And at this point, what I really want to do is try to put together a trailer of some kind. I don't know how particularly smooth it'll be. I don't know if it'll necessarily get any reception. But I do think that at this point, it would be worth me trying to ship it around maybe to a couple of small publishers, see if anybody's interested in, putting a little effort into this, or if it's something that anybody's interested with in terms of publishers and whatnot. It just also gives me a good goal in terms of having a trailer, right? So that's kind of what I have as my next goal, and a big part of what I guess my last few weeks has been working on in terms of planning out that trailer is sort of beautifying the game a little bit, prettying some of it up. So just wanted to show off a little bit of that, just put another developer log out. This will be developer log number 6. I'm going to just show y'all a little bit of what I've been working on recently. A lot of it's going to be art, etc. But first, I'll just show y'all the combat. So the combat's pretty much the same. I haven't functionally changed much. The one functionality thing that I have added is this combo molt, which I'm going to have to find a better way to display that, better name for it. But with this game, right, so it's just to show you combat if you've never seen this before. So this is the idea, right? I am hitting these letters, trying to time it inside of the box. You'll see that when I miss, I get a miss message that's 0 points, but other than that, it's sort of a Guitar Hero style. If you're perfect, right, you get full points. If you're off a little bit, you get fewer points. And the points are based on the letter itself. So it's kind of a mashup of like Guitar Hero in terms of the rhythm of hitting the key. And then the points are like Scrabble rules is kind of the way that I describe it. So you'll sort of see, I'm going to run it again. The more rare that a letter is in the English language, the higher your score. So you'll see a perfect S is only 2 points, perfect N is 1 point, right? But if we go to the Z, I only got a good Z right there, and it was 37.5 points, right? A full Z is 50 points. So that's something that balancing combat-wise is something I'm going to have to worry about eventually. But that's sort of the basic loop, and what I want to show you, so that combo molt, let's see here, so right there I had 2 perfects and 1 good. You'll see that my combo meter went up to 1.05. That's because at minimum I had all goods, which I guess that's the point total that I set, and each time that you hit a minimum of either decent, good, or perfect on all of your inputs, you'll have an increase to your combo molt. And then you'll see, again, it's going to be a little difficult because I'm in this default battle, but you'll see right there, so that was all perfects. So now I have a 1.25x multiplier, right? So it gives you an additional 25% on your molt as opposed to that 5% for the all goods. And that increases throughout each battle. It resets at the end of each battle. But let's say you had 10 rounds of combat, you hit perfect every time, you would add that 25% multiplier on 10 times. So you would end up with, I think, like close to a 3 times molt. And that's going to be applied to each of your final scores. So if I got 8 points, I'm going to get 8 times 3 as my combo molt. Or in this case, 8 times 1.25, so 10, I think. But anyways, that's like the most substantial thing I've made in terms of the combat functionality. But you may notice, again, there are a couple of things I did to sort of pretty this up a little bit. These boxes are new. I've worked on the UI a decent bit. This button is something that I created in Aseprite and brought it into here. One thing that I really liked is this little animation that I have. That's literally just like, that's another thing I programmed into Aseprite, where it just starts as 1 pixel, goes to 2, goes to 3, goes to 4, and then shrinks out. So it's just a little animation I made and overlaid onto the keys. So I really like that. Just another panel to kind of show off. The text, it doesn't look great here. I'm gonna have to keep working on like the color schemes, making it look pretty. This is like an artificial shadow though that I created just by having a layer of text and then the same text overlaid in black, slightly offset to it. So again, just trying to add a little bit more flair, a little bit more pizzazz, making it look a little bit more professional. Let's go into the village. So the village is where most of my art has been going to. This is where we've got several buildings. Oh, here's one thing I was very excited about. So I finally added animations for the player when he's walking. So you'll see he's actually turning side to side, up and down. And then it's hard to see like right here, but when I run into this edge, you'll see that I have stepping animations too. So there's walking down, walking up, walking side to side. So just a little bit more, it's nothing near professional, but you know, a little bit more suitability for the art, right? This is more of a legitimacy, which is maybe another word I would say. So this is the mayor's office. The mayor's office is like the one building I still haven't decorated, but you'll see that is Eliza, the mayor, right there. You can see she's got a pattern now. That is one thing that I did, was add unique patterns to each of the villagers, so they're all distinct, unique villagers now. So again, Dr. Orwell, you'll see in here I've switched out the bed that I have for default on the spaceship for rugs. My idea is that these creatures have wings, they have their 4 legs opposed to 2 legs, 2 arms, and maybe it would be more comfortable if they were on rugs instead of beds. So my idea is that that is what they are using. That's what they sleep on. So let's pop inside the community center. This is where Shayla, Paria, and Solomon are, the 3 other like heads within the community. So this is Solomon, the chapel leader. You'll see again these sort of rugs for when folks are meeting. These stained glass windows I'm really proud of. I think they look pretty cool. In here, this is the library with Paria. We've got bookshelves right there, a desk right there. Again, just more stuff to make it look a little bit better. And then this is the art studio, or the gallery. You can see these are all empty picture frames. My idea is that as you go through the game, in each of these 3 areas, there will be things that you unlock. So I'm thinking it'll be like the flora that you unlock, the fauna that you unlock, and then the moves that you unlock will lead to, so this is the easiest instance to show it. This will lead to, like this picture frame will be filled with some piece of art once you've unlocked X number of flora, just as an example. You see again sort of more art easels. The colliders aren't set up, but just trying to make it look a little bit more real. A desk with a lamp on it. Shayla's got her light blue color to her, so it's just a little bit of the. It's again nowhere near professional, but just sprucing up the art a little bit more than where it was at before. This river, this is not exactly the end of what that's going to look like. I had also put together some more river tiles. You'll see right here. So just corner tiles, and I'm going to want to try to make that look a little bit better. But even still, this is a big upgrade from what it was like before, where it was just straight down tiles. Now at least you've got some amount of curve in the water. So let's go up. This is, I think, one of the biggest before and after improvements. This is the spaceship. I think this looks a lot better than it did before. Let's pull up my Aseprite and show you the before and after of these spaceships. So Spaceship. So this is the old spaceship. It's not like the worst thing I've ever created. It doesn't really look like a spaceship though. It's also just this interior design is really ugly. I just wanted to add some sort of flair to it. It looks really... when I compare it to this, I'm really happy with my improvement on that. This also looks quite phallic, to be a little bit more tame, which is not the best thing in the world. So yeah, that one was a big improvement for sure. And then let's see, the other one was my barn. So this is my first attempt at a barn. This is just objectively, this is trash. This offset black line, I know people didn't like. I understand. I was kind of just doing it as an attempt, again, to have some sort of flair to it, but it doesn't look very good. But overall, it just doesn't look like a barn. It looks almost like a weird, like, circus tent or something. It's not really anything. But this new barn, I'm quite happy with. I think it's pretty obvious. I think one of the best pieces of advice that somebody gave me was put these white X's, the red doors with the white X's. I think that makes it very much look like a barn. And if you'll see, we'll go down to it in here. And again, even just, see here, more of the bushes on the side. I've got a couple of rocks set up. Just some more life in the village. And then I will go over to the forest after this and show that off. And then maybe show off a couple of the characters and then move on from there. But like down here, right, we've got, a little bit of our setup. The barn right here, let's scroll out to it. But yes, this is the barn implemented. I've got the hay bales back there, the scarecrows around. I think this looks a lot better. I'm much happier with how this has turned out. And the other thing too is that I've got, if we go to buildings, we go to barn, I have 2 sprites for it, based on whether the doors are unlocked or not. Obviously, when the doors are unlocked, this poster needs to be hidden, but this just allows me to indicate whether this is unlocked or not, because the barn and the community center are 2 buildings that start locked and eventually will become unlocked. So that's that. I'm gonna go now. Let's see, I think I have it set up so that I can go straight into the forest. So let's try to do that. So we're in the community center, hanging out in the village. In Act 3, you are tasked with going out into the forest, exploring, sort of documenting the flora and fauna out there. That's your main goal of the game, right, is we're corporate explorers, and our goal is we're on an uncharted planet. We're discovering the plants and animals, the flora and the fauna of that land. Obviously, we're in a village. This is a village of a native species that you come across. And the story kind of goes from there. Oh, Disco doesn't want to let me go through. There you go. So I've got a couple blockers in place like that. Again, just with story progression things. So again, right now I'm at a story point somewhere in Act 2. Is what I have hard coded in there. So you're not able to access certain areas until you're, at that point in the story. But we can go ahead and just pop in here and just look around the forest a little bit. This is kind of just a first brush at the forest, but one thing that I was really happy with is I feel like these tiles look better. I feel like I've gotten better at tiling. I feel like just my pixel art in general. These bushes, I know it's a silly little thing to focus on. They just look so much better. I really like this design versus, that's another one I should have shown off. Let's go into Sprite again. We'll go bush. Yeah, I don't think this looks bad. I think that the shading on it looks solid. But I really think this looks a lot better. I think it's just, again, more polished. Polished is the word I was looking for when I kept saying professional. It just looks a lot more polished. It's something, this is cool. The shading on this one I really like, but I think that this one is just a more consistent, polished look. So, yeah, I was really happy with that. So the forest is a little bit of a maze. You're meant to be a little bit lost when you get in here. I have not put any creatures in here. Life forms is sort of what I refer to them as, but this is an area where you'll obviously discover several new life forms. And Yeah, you sort of go from there. As you can see, it's still a little glitchy with the animations, but it's a lot better than it was in the past. And let's see. So there's the forest. I want to show off. I guess one thing I will show off real quick. This is a feature that's very much in progress, but I started making it, so I'd like to show it. Oh, and then I'm going to show off the menus, and then I'll show off a couple of critters, and then I will let y'all go. Alright. Village. So right now I just have this for the village, but as we see when you go into here, so that's my pause menu, right? This is the H button. So this is, I don't know if I've showed this off in previous versions. Oh, that's, don't know what that means. Oh, that's not ideal. That's frozen. So I'll have to look at that. That's not ideal, but that's what that's meant to be, is like a help button. It's supposed to give you some indication of what you're at in the story and give you an idea of what you should be doing next. So I've always had a problem where I'll play a game and I'll pick it back up a month or two later, and if I'm in the middle of a story and I can't figure out what to do next, I'm not going to keep playing the game. I'm just going to go to something else, because it's kind of frustrating to just not know what you're doing next. So that's what that is meant to be. This is the M button. So as you can see, this is a map. What I did for this is I literally just took a screenshot of it and then overlaid the buildings on top where they are currently. So I hid all the objects. You'll see there's no bushes, there's no creatures down here, none of that. And then I have it not set up yet, but the idea is that you'll be able to, as you unlock the biomes, scroll through and see the different biomes on the map. And the other thing that I really want to implement with this, it's going to be a little trickier. I'm not totally sure how, but I think it's going to be worth doing, is have an indicator of where you currently are. And maybe have an indicator. I think that Disco will generally be with you, your personal discovery robot, Disco, your sidekick, who is maybe even more of a main character than you are, frankly, in this story. But I want to have an indicator of where you are on the map instead of just showing you the map, although I think this is a pretty good start. So, got a map on there now. This UI, I think that this color scheme looks a lot better. You see right here, we unlocked the village in the life form tracker, right? So, panel right here, looking at Disco. Disco's got a lot of HP. You probably don't want to mess with Disco, would be my advice. Logger, I haven't implemented this, but that's where you sort of see your text. I've started implementing options. I want, especially just for my own sake, I want to be able to speed up the text. So that was something that's pretty easy to put into. I guess a couple other things I want to do for the trailer, right? I really want to brush up this main menu. I think that's going to be pretty important, because that's a big introduction. Although, frankly, I don't know if you need to show the main menu in the trailer. There's got to be like a splash screen of some kind, though, that I come up with, and if it's not the main menu, then something else. So, yeah, those are most of the upgrades that I've made recently. Let's see. I'm going to go into maybe sprites, characters. What's the best way to show these off? Yeah, I don't want to just do that. So let's maybe just drag a few of these into this scene, maybe? Yeah, I'll just show off a few of these. So, oh, oops, I always do that. You have to drag them over here first, and then we'll throw them on at order 1, 2. Oh, I don't need to do that. That's dumb. Okay, let's go there, 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 there. I know these are all new ones. Oh, it's not going to let me do that. Okay. And then there might be a couple other new ones in there that I can't see at the moment. Hopefully you aren't hearing Nico licking himself. That would be not ideal, but he's got to be the center of attention, so I get it. Can you shut up, bro? Yeah, I didn't think so. Alright. Go 1. Let's go... Yeah, look at these little dudes. I'm definitely happy with how my pixel art has come along. I think the programming is, I've sort of picked it up, and I'm a lot more familiar with Unity, obviously, but the pixel art is something that I started with very little skill of, and I've just kind of watched some videos and just practiced enough times that I think I've really started to get... it's not necessarily good, but it's a lot better than where I started, so I'm pretty proud of that. So yeah, this is the Bamboomerang. So it's bamboo, boomerang, the strawberry, strawberry. Bare Bones was one that I really like. I think that this turned out really well. I wasn't sure how well I'd be able to program that or like put that into a 32 by 32, but I think it looks pretty well with the bones. Spring Chicken, another one that it's just a goofy little thing, but Cloctopus is another one I wasn't sure how well that would fit in, but I think Cloctopus looks really well. I really like the face, the tentacles. They ended up being enough space. Chipster was always going to be a pretty simple design. It's a chip hipster. You kind of see where I've gone with my creative ideas, kind of just mashing two words together on a lot of these, but I don't know. I think it's cool enough. And then this one I really like. This is the Bejeweler. So the idea is that it's like a beholder, like Dungeons and Dragons type creature, huge eyeball, but it's supposed to be sort of encrusted with gems. Like, again, it does not show up as much right here, but I tried with the teeth and just to make it look a little bit more mineral, earth, or like gravel-ish based. So that's the Bejeweler. Yeah, that's just a few more. Oh, and then Birdhouse. Birdhouse, another pretty straightforward one. It's a bird and a house. But it just, I just wanted to show those off a little bit because I feel like that's definitely something that I've improved on a lot. And I worked on the art a lot recently. These last couple of months, it's been less progression of the game and more, again, stuff like these tiles. For the farm fencing, I think turned out really well down here, and the scarecrow and the forest tiles. I don't think I showed off the spaceship. Let's go on the spaceship real quick because I added a good little bit of spice to the spaceship as well. Awesome. That looks great. That's so cool, actually. That's really cool. So yeah, that's not what that's supposed to look like, obviously. Well, not a lot I can do about that in this very moment, so I guess I'll just show it off in the scene view. Obviously, as you can see, whatever's happening in-game, that's not how it's supposed to look. That is not accurate, but you just see I've added some of these tables, this piping, med packs on the tables, storage containers, just stuff to add a little bit more flair and flavor to the spaceship, right? Make it feel a little bit more lived in, make it feel a little less empty. This Tesla coil, this is supposed to be like the battery, the engine of the ship, as well as Disco herself, Disco being sort of a robot, AI entity, whatever. I think, in my mind, is sort of like connected to the ship, powered by the ship, but also sort of like plugs into it. So this is the idea of, this is sort of fueling the ship and Disco, is this Tesla coil. But yeah, so that's the interior of the ship, a little bit better looking, a little bit more lifelike. But yeah, overall, just wanted to show off some stuff, get another developer log out there. I'll probably, I think maybe trying to do it, twice a month or every couple bi-weekly, whatever cadence that may be. That's sort of what I want to get into the habit of. Figured I'd just drop something out there. Yeah, next step, we're working on a trailer. So hopefully I will have a trailer out. I want to say middle of November is probably what I'm aiming for. Maybe even a little bit sooner. I'm a little unsure just with starting the new job. It's gonna be a big. Obviously, it's a big time commitment, but even more than what I'm used to with the commute and all. So, try not to stress myself out too much about it. Obviously, I don't have investors or publisher timelines to worry about, but if anybody wants to put that pressure on me, I would be grateful to have that. So I'm fairly confident I can handle it. But anyways, appreciate y'all tuning in for a little bit. Hope this was cool. Hope you. I guess there wasn't a lot to learn from this one, but you saw something cool, and maybe you had me on in the background rambling. Anyways, I'll see y'all next time. Peace.